run through this. So we've got obviously the Netflix Tudum event, which is some news from that. So thanks, Cam. And we're going to run through, obviously, Enola Holmes 2 is releasing November the 4th. I don't know if I didn't actually watch the first one. I don't know if any of you guys did.
I did.
Not very good.
I watched it. I liked it.
I think I have it at a 3 out of 5 stars. I think it's one of those films where maybe I watched it while I was working one day, so maybe I just wasn't paying too much attention. I also think I expected way more Henry Cavill than I got.
Yeah. So, we got obviously Wednesday Addams, the first look at that starring Jenny Ortega, who's been doing quite a few roles recently. She's also a confirmed cast member in Miller's Girl, which is a dark coming of age film, directorial debut, Jade Halle Bartlett, and it also features Martin Freeman as well. And she's also obviously done Fallout, Scream, X. Where do we think she goes next? She's doing really well at the moment. Wednesday looks pretty interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that so far.
Yeah, I mean, she's only 19, and she's having a better year than like anyone on the women's side. Because not only is she like in a lot of movies, she like the Fallout. I wouldn't be mad if she got an Oscar nomination for her supporting role. I think she was fucking fantastic. She made me cry. Obviously, she had a small role in Scream, still did a great job. And then X is where I think she just kind of showed us that she's capable of a crazy range of emotions. So she is slowly climbing my rank of like my most like actresses under 25, I guess, that I'm going to be paying attention to.
Yeah, I think, well, I first got introduced to her in You season 2, which we'll go on to in a second, but I think she was really good in that as well. And I think like she's getting these roles because she's great, and especially at 19, I think it's someone everyone's got to look out for. But yeah, I mean, like in terms of the coming of age film, that was pretty good as well. Obviously, Del Toro's stop motion Pinocchio is coming out. Obviously, we got a Pinocchio film a few weeks ago.
One more thing on Wednesday, which I actually found out yesterday. Danny Elfman is composing it, which is kind of wild. Okay. Spider-Man, Men in Black, Mission Impossible, Batman. I thought that was a very interesting tidbit I found out. Yeah, I didn't know that until last night, and I was kind of like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Also, pretty cool. You didn't mention it, but the Nightmare on Elm
Street, Corpse Bride as well.
Christmas. But yeah, that's his best, in my opinion.
That is great, to be fair. But yeah, so we got the Pinocchio film a few weeks ago, which I tried to watch, and it was terrible. I think I lasted about 50 minutes.
Dreadful.
But this stop motion Pinocchio, I'm quite excited for. I don't know what you guys think. I really like him as a director. I mean, are any of you particularly excited for this, or are you not really expecting too much?
I mean, with the name Guillermo del Toro attached, you're going to pay attention to it a lot.
You're going to pay attention.
The Disney Plus Pinocchio, and it literally cannot be worse than the Disney Plus Pinocchio.
It would be a big achievement if it was worse than that. It would be a massive.
I'm excited for it. I mean, how can you not be? It's Guillermo del Toro, and you just had one of the worst Pinocchio. So if you're a big Pinocchio fan, you're going to get redemption arc time.
Am I crazy to say like Pinocchio is bad, but not like the worst thing ever? I have it at like 26 out of 100. Like it's not. It's not. I don't know if it's as bad as you guys. I think you can get worse from here. I have a lot of movies that are getting worse from there, and I don't love Guillermo del Toro, to be honest with you. Like I think he's very good, but I don't love Pan's Labyrinth. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Okay. Seth can yell at me. Feel free.
No, I think he's one of those directors that like his style is kind of polarizing again. But Pan's Labyrinth, incredible film. I do love that.
Guillermo del Toro is one of those filmmakers where I can watch hours upon hours of behind the scenes footage. Because watching this man like craft the movie is just like watching someone fall in love because of how much he just genuinely enjoys making film. And then just on top of like him, Ewan McGregor, Christoph Waltz, Tilda Swinton, Ron Perlman, Cate Blanchett, John Turturro, Phil Wolfhard. That's a ridiculous cast for a Pinocchio movie.
Yeah, the cast is great. The cast is really good.
Does anyone give a shit about the Pinocchio story, though? Like,
no.
Are you? So
I don't really care about the story. No.
We're more interested that it's Guillermo del Toro with an insane cast. But like,
if his name wasn't attached to a stop motion Pinocchio, I don't know if I'd be that interested. To be honest, it is just like Tyler said.
It's also the fact that it's a stop motion animation. I want to see like how beautiful is he going to craft a stop motion Pinocchio story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think definitely. But yeah, I mean, we're looking forward. So I'm not like crazy optimistic, but with his name attached, I think it'll be a pretty interesting story. Intergalactic with Kid Cudi, first look. Did anyone have a look at that? Get a chance to gather their thoughts about that one?
Saw that trailer.
Looks pretty.
Good.
Yeah, looks good.
See.
I'll
season
flex real quick. I'm going to the premiere on Wednesday.
Yeah. I didn't know if you were telling people that, but hell yeah.
He's got it out there. Okay. You season 4, part 1 premieres February the 10th. So You was one of those things I really liked. I don't think the most recent season was as good as the first two, but I think it's a really, really solid show, and I'm definitely looking forward to season 4. I don't know what you guys think.
Tyler and George haven't seen it because I asked the other day, but it's one of those shows. Like, I agree with you, Seth. I really like it, but every time I watch a season, I'm like, this could have stopped. Like, so like way back at season 1. Actually, and here's what I'll say. Love Quinn, who she played by. It's so much more interesting than Joe Goldberg. They should have killed him.
Yeah, I agree. We said him.
Who's the actor? Victoria Pedretti.
Who was great. She was great.
So good. And she's in Haunting of Hill House, which George believes is.
I love her in Hill House.
She's so good and so much more interesting than Joe. I think they should have killed Joe and went with her.
Just before we move on from this segment, can you both please watch it? Because you's really good, man. Like
the first season's really good.
Well, Cam just spoiled it for me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Also,
more to talk. Like, what's your opinion on the part 1, part 2 that like Netflix has been doing? Because why is this show getting a part 1, part 2? That's
I thought that. Yeah,
like Stranger Things did. It's kind of odd. That's
and Ozark too.
And Ozark. Yeah.
Well, I've heard rumors. I don't know if anything's official that Netflix is going to start going more towards the weekly episode releases. So maybe this part 1, part 2 is just their slow transgression from going from all at once to eventually being once a week episodes. So,
I mean, to quickly touch on that, obviously, I don't think we spoke on this in the previous podcast, but I like that idea. I'm kind of for that. I mean, George, I know you are.
I love the weekly episodes. I think a weekly episode is so incredible because think of the House of Dragons. House of Dragons, we watch it every Sunday night collectively, as a whole wide world is watching House of the Dragon on a Sunday night. Then you have
we all speak about it at the same time.
Exactly. We all have just a week to digest what we watched, to talk about it. We're all on the same page because we're all watching the same released episode. It's not like House of the Dragon drops 10 episodes. Maybe I watch 3 right away. Cam kills the season in one day. Tyler takes a little more time. Seth, whatever. We're all watching this one show every Sunday. We have something to look forward to next Sunday, which kind of makes my life sound boring that I'm just looking forward to a TV show. But I love the weekly episodes. I want to stop these dropping 10 episodes at a time. It's just, I think it kills the excitement.
I agree.
I wish studios would pick and choose. Like, I wish Netflix wasn't always dropping all the time.
Always one or the other.
Yeah, and then HBO Max is always every week. Because I've said it before. I think, and we don't have to get into it. I think people would care more about She-Hulk if maybe the first 5 episodes were dropped at once. Because I don't want to watch a sitcom week to week. There's nothing like in a sitcom that keeps you invested. Like, I binge watch The Office. I binge watch Parks and Rec, Friends, like things like that. I don't want to sit there week to week. And I know when they were coming out, they did. So maybe it's just like me being a younger person. But like,
I agree with you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like House of the Dragon keeps you there every week. Lord of the Rings show keeps you there. But like a sitcom doesn't really. I barely not barely. I think Ted Lasso is one of the best shows ever. But like I hang on for Ted Lasso just because I love that show so much. If I didn't care for that show as much as I do, I wouldn't want to watch it week to week,
Yeah, and just think about Stranger Things, like how crazy that would have been for TikTok and the discourse if it was coming out weekly. And I was stressed when Stranger Things came out because I was like because my girlfriend and I were watching together, like, we like don't have a choice. We have to sit down and binge this because we are going to get everything spoiled for us if we don't see the entire season by like tomorrow.
I agree.
So it's just like too much. I like, give me the weekly.
I think it helps in terms of like us, just in terms of creating content as well, doesn't it? Massively, because we all work. Unfortunately, social media isn't our jobs, and we often don't have the time to watch a full season in a day. And then before you know it, we're reviewing episode 1, but someone else is reviewing the full season. So if we all get it at the same time, we can all, like George says, collect our thoughts, give our thoughts on it. So yeah, I think we're all for it. But I agree with Cam. I think there's certain circumstances where it can be changed. Obviously, The Witcher. I actually didn't watch The Witcher. I've heard really great things about it. I don't know if any of you guys watched the first 2 seasons.
I did. Yeah, I think it's a really, really solid show. I enjoyed it. I think Henry Cavill is fantastic in this role. I think the whole aesthetic of the show it is very, I don't want to say Game of Thronesy, but it's for sure not like Lord of the Ringsy, where it feels clean. Like it's a very dirty, raw show. The action set pieces and sequences are fantastic. There's immediately in like the ending of season 1, episode 1, there's just like this really cool like minute long scene with Henry Cavill on a sword. I enjoy it. Season 3 is exciting. Michelle Yeoh is in the Origin, the new prequel coming out, which is just so exciting.
She's great. We all know that she is.
I enjoyed The Witcher way more than I thought I would. And this isn't original thoughts, and not me coming up with this, but do you think, like, I guess, George, you're the only one who's watched it. Do you think it's the best video game adaptation to a movie or TV show that you can think of? Because usually they suck. Usually video games to movie or TV are trash.
Terrible. Yeah.
The Witcher is pretty highly regarded, though, just across the board.
I mean,
I can't think of a better one.
I'd have to really like look into this, but yeah, off the top of my head, based on like recent watches, Uncharted, Sonic 2, I mean, they suck.
Resident Evil.
Oh, man.
The worst show I've ever seen.
The Halo show did terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that did really bad.
Mortal Kombat was like okay, but it still wasn't good. So I'd say yes. Without doing any research on the matter, I'd say yes. The Witcher is the best video game to TV movie adaptation that I can remember seeing in the last couple of years.
I can't think of any great ones. I haven't seen The Witcher, but I can't think of any great video game adaptations. They're usually pretty awful.
It's just one of those things that needs to stop.
Yeah. Obviously, as George said, the Blood Origin, that's a December premiere. And also, we're getting Outer Banks Season 3. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts on that.
I'm a big Outer Banks fan.
Tyler?
I don't care if it's corny, cheesy, or whatever. The Outer Banks is such just great garbage television, and people get like upset when I say that it's like a bad show that I love watching, and people are like, dude, Outer Banks is so well loved and so liked. It's like, yeah, it's so well loved, but there's some ridiculous stuff that goes on in that show. But
it's so bad it's good. It's one of those things.
And I love the setting. Like, it's just such a good vibe. Like South Carolina off the shore in the ocean. And I'm excited for season 3. The 2 main stars, Chase Stokes and Madeline Klein, were dating for the first like 2 seasons, and now I think they like hate each other. They broke up.
They don't like it,
and they can't stand each other. It's like the whole what Spider-Man tried to avoid with Peter Parker and MJ, how they always end up dating in real life with Tom Holland and Zendaya. And now they're like, hey, please don't. It could ruin the chemistry of the show. Or the movies. I'm interested to see what happens in Outer Banks season 3, because they didn't just break up. I'm pretty sure these 2 actors like hate each other. And we'll of course see Madeline Klein in A Glass Onion soon. So excited to see it.
That'll be fun.